And welcome to another exciting episode of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles.
Yay!
I am your host, Tim D-O-double-G.
Yay!
And I'm joined by the man behind the sound effects at Agent_70 on Twitter.
Sup, everybody?
And we also have at Agent_70.
When did I become an agent? I'm an agent now. Woo! Yes, I made it, Ma.
Agent Roddy Cat.
There he goes. We're thrown off because we are missing a particular member of the panel this week.
Who's also not an agent, but in his own way he is, I guess.
That would be at PCN_Dirt, who is in Memphis, Tennessee this week. Make sure to go to his website, popculturenetwork.com, and also go to our website, thekliqnation.com, where you can find previous episodes of the Comic Book Chronicles and comic book reviews. On the homepage, you'll find links to our social media accounts. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google+. Follow us.
And Instagram.
And subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and TuneIn Radio. Remember, we are part of the Code Slither Podcast Network, aka the CSPN. Do it today. And while you're on the CSPN.us website, you can buy some Comic Book Chronicles merchandise. Go to shop.cspn.us. Remember, we record live every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you're on social media and you're talking comics, make sure to use the hashtag Comic Book Chronicles or CBChron. So this week saw the finale of the Spider-Man event series, Dead No More, The Clone Conspiracy. So issue number 5 came out. Get that cover up here. Oops, cancel.
All right.
Wrong.
So while Tim is pulling up the cover for viewers of the video at home, basically this issue finds us with the Jackal broadcasting deadly signal to all carriers of eventually they'll become carriers of the carrion virus. I guess the carrion virus is laying dormant within them as they are they are either full or partial clones, or carrying cloned tissue. So as we left as we left our heroes at the end of the last issue, the penultimate issue, we find that the clone of Otto Octavius has turned on the alert. Spoiler alert. The Jackal is no one other than Ben Reilly.
Dun, dun, dun.
Exactly. So as Ben Reilly / the Jackal's plans are basically they're sort of coming to fruition and sort of going up in flames, we find Otto, the clone of Otto Octavius, the very real Anna Maria, and Spidey trying to stop everything from basically going up into flames.
And I guess issue 5 starts with the virus taking over the world or being spread across the world. The clones are just disintegrating from the virus, but they're also spreading it to non-clones,
right,
who are becoming infected with it as well.
Right, and it seems to be spread fairly quickly and easily. No one needs to be bit. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's like it spread through the air and contact with the skin.
Exactly.
So it's up to Spider-Man and his amazing friends to stop the Jackal.
Right.
He gets some assistance from the Gwen Stacy clone.
Oh, you had me excited there for a second.
What do you mean?
Amazing friends.
Yeah.
Play on words, my friend.
Well done.
So yes, Gwen Stacy clone. Clones for the Prowler and Jean DeWolf, I think her name was.
Correct. Detective Jean DeWolf.
Also, Kane, the Scarlet Spider, and Gwen Stacy from the other alternate universe, Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen.
Right. So in my notes, I had written down, let's open it back up here. Some clones disintegrate, others escape by the end. That seems to be the big takeaway from the event, was to revive characters, particularly Ben Reilly. And I feel more will be revealed in the Clone Conspiracy Omega one-shot that comes out after this.
Yeah, I kind of thought that robbed this issue of a lot of the potential impact it would have had by having a Clone Conspiracy Omega. Because what I was saying earlier is that this issue really does leave a lot of threads dangling. Very much a Chris Claremont-esque. During the X-Men years. Spoiler alert: we actually find out. We find out that some of the people who we thought were clones really weren't. But I won't go too deep into that. I think you should read this book. It is, I think, the Clone Conspiracy itself, the 5-issue story, is worth reading because it does have a lot of great references and callbacks to Spider-Man stories of the past, and it really is kind of nice. It tickles the nostalgia bone for certain. When you're reading this, where it really leaves. The story going forward, it does kind of suck that you have to read this Omega issue to find out what's going on, or to kind of set up the future stories.
Yeah, it's kind of odd that this was just, usually we're used to events being, ending with the even number. So this ended with, on issue number 5, but then the Omega can almost be considered like a 6th issue in a way,
right?
But then it also sort of is a nice link to the status quo going into Amazing Spider-Man, and I guess the Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider series that's going to come out as well.
Right. So, I mean, overall, what were your feelings on this?
I enjoyed the series. The end, this ending here just felt like a cheat code to bring back a bunch of characters.
Right, but they also did get rid of, I guess they don't really get rid of anything because, like,
they don't get rid of everyone. They tease a whole bunch of deaths,
exactly,
through disintegration of clone cells.
Right, and then and ultimately, we kind of get a little bit of a comeuppance for J. Jonah Jameson, because he finally relents, because he'd been holding this kind, it's a tough grudge, especially if you've ever had to, deal with, debts in your own family. You can really sympathize with what Jonah's feeling there, especially with regards to, using the new U tech to save his own father. But then, after all this, after, falling prey to Ben Reilly's schemes, he finally has to admit, to Spider-Man that Peter Parker was right, and that it's not that the whole new you potential life-saving technology and the whole clone thing was just a super false hope.
And they never got around to doing anything with the tease of Uncle Ben.
Right. Well, it was like a cliffhanger, and then they basically dove right into it and said, no, we're not even going there.
Yeah.
If
we're not that cruel.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, nah, we're not going there. So, But yeah, I mean, listen, I enjoyed this. If you go online to Graham Comics Reviews on Instagram, that is PCN_dirt doing his reviews, his weekly reviews of comics. And I don't think he had the best rating for this issue. I happen to like this issue, but like, excuse me, no cough button nearby. But like we were both saying, it does feel cheapened because it turns out to not be the final issue, but another penultimate issue.
Yes.
All right. So what's next on our agenda?
What do y'all want to go to?
You guys want to cover the 2 Captain America books this week? Did you guys read those?
I hadn't read either one, but sure, go for it.
Oh no!
Yeah, I haven't read them either.
Oh no! I'll leave that for rapid fire then, because I'll try to cover them quickly. Let's try to get to something we all read, or at least 2 of us read. How about Thor? Mighty Thor number 16.
I read the Thor.
All right.
That's my Asgardian voice.
Yeah, I read the Thor. All right. So this issue picks up right where we left off because you know, we find Jane Foster Thor in the middle of Shi'ar space. And as I try to find this copy, it's under M for Mighty Thor. What we find is that the two, I guess, primary deities of the Shi'ar race. And what's funny is that we recognize these names from I shouted out Claremont before. If you ever read the Shi'ar, the X-Men's Adventures in Shi'ar Space, as written by Chris Claremont, you know that the Shi'ar characters often pray to Shara and Kithri, the quote Star Mother and the Father of Light, the deities in the of the Shi'ar race, and basically they have spoiler alert, called Thor to answer a challenge of the gods. And I kind of thought, and I really had I got a lot of kicks out of reading this issue because there were a few shout outs to the real world in this, because apparently in Jane Foster's absence, Volstagg is trying to filibuster the Congress of Worlds,
yes,
into considering a vote to approve Asgardian action against the Shi'ar, and he's just going to hold the floor and filibuster until he gets his way. And I thought that was pretty funny and a pretty timely reference.
Friend of the show, I guess formerly Dork Geekus, he had mentioned how the Shi'ar gods reminded him a lot of Gore the God Butcher in a way, from the very first Thor God of Thunder series when Aaron took over the book. Sort of just how their like thought process and being sort of looking down at the mortals.
Oh, sure.
The people that they're, pray to them, but they could the gods could care less. Right. As we see later on during it wasn't exactly trial by combat, but
the challenges.
The challenges, yes.
Right. And I thought the first challenge, the challenge of whatchamacallit, what did they call it? The challenge of natural disasters. I thought that was hysterical because the logic they use is so twisted.
Yes.
It's so twisted.
But it's clever.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I got a kick out of this issue. And this is definitely a candidate for Click of the Week for me, because I got, there was I had this stupid grin on my face reading this issue on the way home on the subway because of the really clever twist in logic. Essentially, spoiler alert, essentially what the Shi'ar deities do is create additional worship or create worshipfulness in their followers by crapping all over them.
Yes.
Like causing them to have pain, and that begets or causes these followers to increase their prayer energy, the number of prayers, and that's how they win this challenge. And it was pretty funny to read the entire sequence. And we get to the end, and without spoiling too much, I forget which one this is, which of the Shi'ar, it's the male deity who says, "I've always hated this round." Essentially, after Thor kind of puts the kibosh on what's going on.
And of course, gorgeous art from Russell Dodderman and Matt Wilson.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And then we also had, as you mentioned, the Congress of World stuff going on with Volstagg. And we also had the Warriors 2 with Lady Sif. It was mostly Lady Sif, challenging Cole Borson, who was the man in charge in Odin's stead while he tends to his wife.
Right. So basically, everyone knows that that Thor has been abducted, and they're trying to go after her, and obviously, Kull is taking Odin's lead in saying that, well, the Thor usurper, the false Thor, got kidnapped, so we may not have to go after her, we may not have to save her, but ultimately, spoiler alert, they unleash some arrows that get through tech shielding to pierce the armor of Shi'ar spaceships, which I thought was freaking hysterical.
But yeah, overall fun issue.
Yeah, absolutely. You should be reading this, Roddy.
Yeah, I may check it out.
It's a lot of fun. All right. So what do you have on tap, Roddy?
What do I have on tap? Let's go with oh crap, where'd I put it? No, let's do Ultimates. Ultimates 2, number 4.
Sure, I read that.
I'm trying to find the.
We're on number 4 already?
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, no. And here we go.
Well, we're dealing with a lot of splash pages, if you hadn't noticed. Travel Foreman's put in a lot of splash pages in these books.
So I was looking at this cover, and I was like, at first I was like, oh wait, is that S looks like a Miss Marvel thing? And then I was like, oh no, please don't let that be Century. we don't need that person back. But here we find the Ultimates still in Galactus's ship. They get invaded is not the right word, but it's going to be the one I'm going to use for right now, by the troubleshooters who follow them to the ship, and a fight commences in this issue. Even though the leader of the group who was trying to talk, one of the members of the troubleshooter just decided to go ahead and start the fight. And and they and Ultimates kind of have their little squabble. Meanwhile, Galactus is out and about, and we see the newly created Logos, who is made up of order, chaos, and the in-betweener, who's pretty much trying to bring down the law amongst a group of Celestials who happen to be hiding, who just so happen to be hiding when the last universe ended. Logos finds them, starts to kill them, but then we find some intervention by the Never Queen, who's a Dan Slott of Silver Surfer,
right? Straight out of the pages of Silver Surfer.
Mm-hmm. Who kind of comes in and it's like, hey, you just killed the possibility and this and that and the other. So, they have words. And then Logos somehow gets away from that and comes across Galactus. And at the end of the issue, we see a possible return of the previous version of Galactus thanks to Logos. But we shall see how that works out in the end. So a while ago when like Infinity and whatnot happened and we saw a little bit of the new universe stuff kind of creep in.
Right.
I was wondering, it's like, okay, they're not really using too much outside of the couple of characters that they made a book out of that
like
apparently is
Mask and Starbrand.
Mm-hmm. But we didn't see, like, we saw like bits and pieces of whatever, but we never really saw anything else from it except for now and this, because the troubleshooters are pretty much made up of retooled characters from the new universe. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of digging that part, even though Ewing's kind of taking a little bit of liberties with some of the stuff, but you got to do what you got to do. He's having fun with it, that's for certain. And apparently one of the troubleshooters doesn't seem that far away, because you can see, like, if you know much about the new universe and you read this issue, like, okay, you see where they kind of got this and then they pulled that from there but uses it for this other character, and you see where they kind of retold them. So I'm kind of digging on that part of it.
Right. It seemed to me like more. Listen, my recall when it comes to new universe stuff is awful right now. But
I found myself. Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
No, I found myself saying, "Wait, this character had nothing to do with that." But I see what you did.
Exactly. What I recognize though are some of the terms that came out of like some of the titles of the new universe, and obviously like Psi-Force and what was the other one? There was another big one.
Psi-Force and DP. Well, DP7 was the other big group one.
No, but there's a term that they use in here. Psi-Force is one.
White event.
Right. No, the white event is one, and there is another term in here that they use that made me, that was a clear callback.
So that was a reference to
right.
That was a reference. Well, I mean, yeah, all during that fight there were like references.
Exactly. They were making like subtle references, but the one, Psi-Force is obviously one because that was the title of one of the new universe titles.
Right, but there was also codename Spitfire, which was also
the
title of one.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. That's the reference.
But they're using a person from that book, but not the main person, but they're still using aspects of that in that. So like, even the leader of the group, Justice, whose powers, like you said, calls back to Psi-Force, which wasn't necessarily his powers, but they still use them kind of in the same way he did that, there.
Right. So ultimately that, just those like real subtle, they're really more like Easter eggs for me at this point.
Right.
Were kind of fun. So it's still nice to see them being weaved in and out. So yeah, this is a pretty fun issue. I kind of found myself a little bit lost, even though I have read all of the issues in this. I kind of want to go back to issue number 3 and just, make sure that I'm clear. But it seemed like, what's clear right now is that, the change in Galactus may not be taking for very long or much longer. And I thought that was the biggest takeaway from this book.
Assuming that's 6, yeah.
It's real weird. Like I kind of half expected to see this stuff cross over with the Silver Surfer now that we're seeing so many of the cosmic entities in this book.
You would think so, but yeah, like there's just like in Secret Wars, like Silver Surfer's pretty much off on his own.
Right, and now it's not, and now Surfer is basically like, isn't he just roaming the earth with Dawn Greenwood?
Wait, did they go back to Earth? Because I thought they were still
I
on.
thought, oh, I don't know.
space.
I haven't. I dropped the book a while ago, so
Oh, gotcha.
I'm a little bit behind.
They were on Earth for a while, but then something happened, and now they're back out in space.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like I said, at some point I would hope that the two books cross over because, there's the Ultimates are dealing with such, cosmic level threats that you'd think that the Surfer would eventually get involved.
You would think. Yeah, but it doesn't seem likely at this point because
they're going in vastly different directions.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right. So let's see. Wow, Tim's list of books is vastly different from mine this week. We covered basically. Yeah, we basically covered like the only two books that we both read. That we each both read this week. How about Roddy's list? Because we may be going through like rapid fire a lot sooner.
I mean, that's fine because I don't think it'll take. At least for mine, it won't take long.
Exactly.
Like all of mine.
Well, guys, I was about to say,
me and Roddy can talk about U.S.Avengers.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say.
One. Yeah,
because I hate to say this, I closed my eyes because I was kind of tired on my way home. I had started this book but couldn't make it through before I got to my stop.
Weird, because I think this was probably the easiest read this week.
No kidding. It put me to sleep.
Well, this is one
although I was
anyway.
pretty tired.
The first story arc is the end of the first story arc.
Nice.
Like after 3 issues.
Yeah, so the U.S.Avengers take on the Golden Skull. That is his name, right?
That is his name.
Mm-hmm. That is the name.
He suits up in a gold suit of armor, which ends up being his downfall because, spoiler alert, gold.
Hold on.
Gold is soft.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, you might not want to make a suit of armor out of real gold.
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with a super team of some, fairly smart people.
Right. And it showed them working as a team very well at the beginning, using the ones with powers to create shields to protect the rest of the team as they took on a group of robots. Captain America.
No offense. I was about to say no offense. Whatchamacallit? What is this? The Iron Patriot stealth armor or the Iron Patriot?
Yeah, there's 2 different versions that show up in this book.
Hold on. Isn't that Dave? No, Enigma. Isn't that Dave? Yeah. Doesn't it look like Dave? The IDW Dave?
Oh, yeah.
It looks a lot like Dave.
Huh.
Yeah. It does look like Dave.
Yeah, I mean, just at first glance. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, I was saying Captain America from the future, 20XX, Daniel Cage, gets in on the action here.
She has a shield that flies.
Unfortunately, she doesn't.
That's funny.
It's like stick around to join the team.
Yeah, like she was just like with the Golden Scroll. She's only here for the first arc unless she ends up coming back some kind of way. But
yeah, they reference.
But then again, that is her villain. That's why she came in there in the first place.
Yeah, so they caught him. She took him back to the future. They reference how Squirrel Girl used to babysit her.
Mm-hmm.
For people that like continuity.
Yeah, back in the Mighty Avengers days. Sam found a slightly different use for his powers. I like the whole beginning when they started the fight and Tony was kind of giving orders, like she was like field lead or something like that. I was like, that's new.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually it's like, well, within the last couple of volumes, usually Roberto is the one giving out orders and whatnot, and he was just kind of there. Oh, Roberto uses some cinematic tech.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting. They even kind of allude to it when it comes up, although they don't say it like that, So, but hey, this was a pretty fun book. The team does its thing. The Red Hulk was non-existent because of that whole timing thing has got it, but everybody worked well together, and this was a pretty clean. We also see. Oh, the other thing was the Golden Skull was using some tech from an old X-Men villain, which as we have
not
seen
that
off
old.
and on. Well,
it's not that. I was about to say not that old because we did just
long running.
Yeah, I was about to say we did.
Yes, he has shown up for a reason in another book.
Yeah.
The only other note I wrote down was Golden Skull is a joke of a villain.
Yeah.
So it was good to see the team make quick work of him.
Which, first arc, I think that was kind of the thing. So, yeah, like I said, just Ewing's having fun with this book, and we're fans. We appreciate it around here, even though the what's coming next issue, I'm not I'm not terribly excited for, but it is what it is.
Oh, the
yes,
panel show Matt Wang should be
exactly the return of Matt Wang's favorite character.
Oh, shout out to @MattWang97, who will either be watching or listening to this show, and will be glad to hear his name shouted out and our reference to his favorite guest character in U.S.Avengers / what were they before, New Avengers?
Yes, New Avengers.
Where this character first appeared. Hint. It may be something that's related to Monarch. Oh, that's a King Kong Godzilla reference.
And or the current Monsters Unleashed.
Right. All right, fellers. In one of those weird, quirky things that comes up when we have like weeks where our various interests kind of diverge, you want to start doing rapid fire because it doesn't look like we have any other titles in common, unless you guys both read Invincible Iron Man #4.
Actually, we did.
There you go. Take care of that.
Okay, so I think the question that Tim, you're muted. The question that Tim and I both have, looking at his notes, was, what in the world is going on with this? Because as in the last issue, both Peppers and Riri's armor gets taken up by the Techno Golem Tomoe from the last volume of Invincible Islands, because apparently it's old home week for newer villains, newer Iron Man villains, which sound like she's going to be running across a whole bunch of his old villains anyway. So they had to fight without armor, and Pepper's like taking charges, like, all right, you run, I'll hold them off, basic type of position. And she does, using some moves that I don't think we have ever seen her use.
Wait, did we just find out that Riri's first name is Rachel?
I think that was
we found out that Pepper doesn't know her name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that what that was? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. I was just flipping.
Because he called her Rachel and she called her
Reggie. Yeah.
Oh no.
Which kind of brings me to thinking that like maybe there's something else going on, but I don't, That's
I see what you mean by fighting. Yeah, that's interesting. Can you just imagine seeing Gwyneth Paltrow doing this? Oh no.
Well, see that, and I alluded to that in my notes because I was like, wait a minute, is this is this Iron Man 3? I'm like, what's going on here?
That's funny.
But so yeah, Pepper holds her own while Riri escapes, and even Riri is able to hold her own in a fight, is at least being elusive.
Yeah,
and she, since she's a intellectual, she uses that to her advantage to even the odds in the fight by bringing in some backup.
And that's what tends to happen in cases like this. And a classic armor shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to remember what else happened. That was about it.
No, that was pretty much it. Yeah. Like they fight. They kind of cut to when Riri went to go take over this other armor. They cut to Mary Jane and Tony's mom for a quick second, and then back to the fight. And at the end of the issue, seems to. Oh yeah, Pepper gets knocked out. So which looks like it leaves Riri and this other armor and whatever's going to happen next, according to that last page.
Yeah.
Or showing next issue. So
I'm assuming the fight will escalate enough to where other local heroes intervene, and then that's when they are introduced to Riri, even though they already met her.
Yeah, about to say
Civil War II.
Yeah,
they met her, but they didn't really pay attention to her.
Well, yeah, except for the ones those who became champions.
Right.
Yeah.
So nice cover.
Yeah, I like that cover. It's cool.
I had to make that my phone wallpaper.
There was actually some good art inside too, especially with some facial stuff.
Well, this is Stefano Caselli.
Yeah, some good art all around in a bunch of these books this week.
Yeah, Caselli did the art, in a rare feat. He did the cover and interiors. That's not something you see every day anymore, right?
Yeah. So that's a potential click of the week here.
Nice. All right. Fellers, are we in rapid fire time?
We can be.
Yeah, I think so. All right. I'll lead off. Let me scroll back up to my books and just to pick one of these books to do rapid fire with. Oh, let me catch up with a book from last week. Last week I neglected to mention, because we were kind of swamped with a lot of books last week, that Totally Awesome Hulk number 16 came out last week. There's a continuation of a Greg Pak story with basically throwing all the Asian and Asian American characters all into one book to fight off an alien threat. They actually form a new team called, I don't know if this is trademarked already by another company though. They form the Protectors, and basically, even though it's a week out, I'm not going to spoil exactly what the twist is with these aliens, but the alien threat definitely took a strange twist. Let's put it that way. And we were talking about biting and Walking Dead before. It's kind of along those lines.
I read it over the weekend as well, so fun times.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good issue. It's a continuation of the story. We're not, we haven't finished the story yet, but like I said, it was kind of a weird twist when they were like, oh, so this is why we're, basically the heroes get captured and the aliens reveal why, and that was kind of weird. All right, what else you guys got? We'll go like round robin, everyone will pick a rapid fire.
Let me pull my list up. Let me get the Super Sons number 1.
Go for it.
Which probably is going to be my click of the week.
Nice.
So, as I try to pull the cover up here, this story has kind of been building in the pages of Superman. And it was announced at the beginning of DC Rebirth as one of the titles coming, but they held back on it because they wanted to introduce it properly in instead of just throwing them together in a book. So one cool thing I liked about this was the writing from, well, actually there's two things, the art and writing, go figure. But it was a fun read. I loved how Tomasi had John Kent standing up for his classmates when they were getting bullied. John, at one point, wanted to use his heat ray vision to get some kids back, when he was like, no, can't do that. So got him back in more creative ways. And even Damien helped out at one point in disguise, a clever disguise, by the way. And of course, the interaction between the two of them going back and forth with the witty comebacks, witty repartee. And of course, the art from Jorge Jimenez. He might be my favorite DC artist right now. I think he had a different colorist So like the colors look slightly different from what I'm used to seeing from them, but not in a bad way, just different. So that was cool. So yeah. Trying to think of anything else. We see appearances from the Kents and Alfred and Batman. So we saw Superboy at home. I was gonna say on the farm. I guess it's a farm, but it's a farm on the outskirts. It's not Smallville and it's not Metropolis. They live. I forget the name of the town. So we see the Kents or whatever name they're calling themselves playing a family game, and then Superman gets a call from the Justice League and runs off. Batman, I'm not sure if it's the same call, Justice League call or not, but he leaves Damian by himself. So then Damian goes to pay a visit and says they need to go to Metropolis. I forget exactly what. They're going to investigate something there, something at LexCorp. They get there, they're outside the building, and lo and behold, Lex Luthor pays them a visit, asking if he can help them as they're trying to break into his building. And he's like in his Superman armor.
Well, that's still disconcerting.
Yeah.
You know, like, what is he doing? What is he wearing? God. All right. Roddy, you're up.
All right. Since Tim has that, I'm going to go and do Trinity number 6. Did
Matapool draw this?
I believe it did. Actually, no, because they have another name on here. Is it Lupacino?
Oh, okay.
Nice. You all know that she's good and she's super hot in real life.
Oh, is she?
I've never seen her. So yeah,
okay. That chauvinist message was delivered by Agent _70. His opinion is not that of the entire Comic Book Chronicles or the KLIQ Nation. All hate mail can be sent to @Agent _70 at Twitter.
And since he handles legal, he can do
exactly.
So yeah, so here we have at the end of the arc. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman were still trapped in this dream world, except for the fact that Mongo uses Superman's body to get back into the real world, which means he is in the body of Clark Kent in the real world, and Poison Ivy's still there. And he has control of Superman's powers in that. And speaking of Super Son, John, he gets in a couple of licks against the impersonator in his dad's body. Meanwhile, Batman and Wonder Woman are still in the dream world, and they come across the White Mercy, who is the person thing that was helping out Mongol get to the point where he could get out of that world. But now the Bats and Wonder Woman have to trust her to help them, because White Mercy is saying, like, yeah, I did help my father out, but I've also learned from their journey through this dreamscape that, you know, compassion and bravery and all this other, and loyalty and all this stuff. So she wants to help them, and she does. So they finally get, Batman finally gets out. Which, the thing about it is, so when Batman gets out, he goes to help in the fight, not necessarily, but he pretty much pushes everybody out of the way when Mongol attacks. And Poison Ivy's like, wait a minute, did White Mercy give Bruce Wayne superpowers? You know, when in taking over her body, and like, no, so Poison Ivy seemed like she was starting to get put 2 and 2 together, until somewhere near the end of the fight, and things started getting squared away, and White Mercy kind of took care of the fact that she may have known more than what she knew, or what she should have known at the time. So she looks like at the end of it, she kind of has some temporary amnesia at the end of it. But we also see, like I said, the end of the arc, and we also see a person. And by the way, I should point out that because of Poison Ivy's connection to the Green and this other character's connection to the Green is why this amnesia comes out. But it looks like this connection also brought this person into the real world some kind of way, because it looked like that person had disappeared when things have been said and done. But like I said, the story arc has pretty much been nicely and neatly tied up, and I guess we're going to go into another arc. Well, we don't know what, because nothing was really brought up near the end of it, with the exception of this character coming into the new world. I mean, coming to the real world. But we do see the Trinity kind of sitting there talking to each other while the farm is still kind of, broken up from the fights, and, they're laughing and talking, and that's pretty much the end of it. But it was a good issue, though. I continue to enjoy this book. It's not always the big action, but it shows these three, characters, the closeness these three characters have, even though, one of them's from another world, but they still seem to be as close as if everybody was,
Right. I've been enjoying it. That I've probably mentioned it on a previous episode that Manapul, I wish Francis Manapul was working on Justice League with these characters. But this is his last issue to write for a while.
Really?
Cullen Bunn was scheduled to do issue 8, but I think it was announced today that he's also writing issue 7.
Is Manapul moving to a new project?
Nothing's been announced, but I think Newsarama had a report that he is scheduled to work on Aquaman OGN, which I remember, I think, being announced last year. So I don't know if it's time for him to start work on that, which would take up some time, because I think he's writing and drawing it.
Gotcha.
So we don't know. But kind of interesting to see Bunn back at DC after, I figured he might have been done with them for a while after voluntarily leaving Aquaman. And I figured he had a Marvel exclusive, but maybe not.
No, I don't think so.
I just figured since he had some pretty high profile Marvel books that they would have had him locked down to a non-compete.
Maybe perhaps it's a not yet situation. Yeah, maybe it's coming.
But yes.
So what else we got?
All right. So I think the round robin's come back to me. So let me continue with. I'm going to cover Captain America Steve Rogers, and I'll circle back to Sam Wilson when it's my turn again. But guess what? There's actually someone or two that actually knows Hydra Cap's secret. Drama. And those two characters are actually revealed in this book, and it's real interesting because that is the cliffhanger ending. There was some news this week that we may cover later on about Secret Empire and some of the reveals that have come out with regards to the cover art about where the stories might be going. Actually, I was tweeting about this earlier today with @MattWang97. And we'll talk about that when we get to the news. But this issue does actually move the story along nicely. We are finally getting to the point where Secret Empire really is about to drop. We spent a lot of time diving into how spoiler alert, Kobik may have altered Steve Rogers' origin story, but what we find out here is that we actually see, or we're at least diving into some of the limits of Kobik's changes or interference in Captain America's origin and his reality, and we're not 100% sure how far Kobik's effects actually reach. And it's still not resolved at the end of this issue, but it does raise some interesting questions that are going to be that seem to be on the agenda to be addressed in future issues because of what I was just referring to, whether or not Kobik as a nascent cosmic cube is really affecting reality on universal or much larger level, beyond just that of the origin of Steve Rogers. So we're going to see how that gets explained, but this issue really does start the ball rolling in that direction. Alrighty, who's next?
Next was that's right, we're round robin. Let's see, back to me. I'm gonna do the Wildstorm.
Nice.
Bring up my notes here and bring up this cover work. So for the Wildstorm, I said I was never much of a reader of Ellis's run in the Wildstorm universe initially, but I ended up enjoying the Wildstorm. Let me see. There it is. So issue 1. I like that Ellis made it where you could step in as a new reader and understand what's going on. Very simple. You see your familiar Wildstorm characters like Zealot. I think Michael Cray there in the middle is Deathblow. I believe Michael Cray was Deathblow, except now he's a black man.
Okay.
That's on the right is Voodoo. Except they're more modernized now. You still have IO, International Operations versus Halo. You see the Engineer. You see, I forget the other characters' names. The guy over Halo and the guy over IO.
Talking about the midget guy?
Yeah, except he's not a midget anymore. He's just he's a regular sized person, but he's still
like EMP. I think what was it?
He's still over 100 years old.
Okay.
Little person for those who are sensitive about that thing.
Oh. The views expressed within are solely the views of Agent _70.
Hey, cover your bases.
Exactly.
But I'm definitely gonna keep reading it to see what they do with it. Ellis is taking it more into the secret conspiracy type deal with these different organizations that are trying to control and rule the world.
Okay.
Through their organizations. John Davis Hunt's art is nice and clean. And again, I'm just curious to see where the story goes.
Well, we know how long it's going to go, judging by the cover.
24 issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice little trick. If you look at the top of the cover, the little banners. And I know DC had mentioned how they're keeping the covers simple. Like no fancy cover work. It's just going to be like 1 or 2 characters on each cover.
Weirdly enough, it kind of doesn't even look like a DC book.
Yeah. Well, it's their new imprint, the Wildstorm imprint.
Well, yeah, but
yeah, I know.
All right.
But yeah,
and I guess for anyone who's interested, by the way, there is a sell on at Comixology on Warren Ellis stuff. Sadly, no next wave, but there's probably a reason for that. So,
is his image work that I could go back and read to get familiar with this on there?
No Wildstorm, no old Wildstorm stuff either. So,
no Wildstorm.
No Wildstorm stuff. There's was the Authority of Wildstorm?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, then that's on there.
Yeah, that's what all this is coming from, basically.
Okay, in that case, yeah, there's a couple of volumes of that, and then there's the Planetary. You know, outside of
Was
that,
Planetary? It's been. Oh yeah. So this is more news-y stuff and doesn't actually have to do with this. But there was during an interview, Ellis talked about how over the next 2 years there'll be a total of 4 Wildstorm titles. So basically 3 more books will be launched that spin out of the Wildstorm here, but Planetary would not be one of them.
Okay.
I think he said he's told all the stories he can tell with those characters. Was Planetary part of the authority and all that stuff, or was that something separate?
I think that was something separate, but I'm not entirely sure though.
The Authority.
And Agent 70, is that an actual entryway for Central Park South subway?
Put the image back up. Let's see.
It's up now,
Central
right?
Park South, the 2-3B. Yeah, it probably is. It does, that seems to be the correct trains that would be running in that in that particular area of Central Park. So,
kind of curious. See how accurate they were.
Oh yeah, listen, if I had read this, I would have looked it up. Make sure, see where they're coming out of.
Yep.
Because Ellis being British, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But John Davis Hunt might be from New York.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I know there's always photo reference too. That's always big. When people are looking this stuff up. So.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Is it back to me yet, or is it Roddy?
I believe that's me, actually.
Okay.
So we go to, actually, I think we only have, 2 left. We'll go to He-Man Thundercats number 5.
Dun, 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 dun.
So this is the penultimate issue. And weirdly enough, you didn't have to, because I think I've read the first issue, I've read part of the second issue, and I did not read 3 and 4. So, but I wanted to kind of thumb through this just to see if I actually needed to, and yeah, I'm gonna go back and read it anyway. But okay. All you need to really know about this issue is that there's a big fight. Ouch, that hurt. There's a big fight with the Masters of the Universe, the Thundercats, and some big monsters that apparently Skeletor and Mumra may have sent up against them. And this whole issue was pretty much that fight. There was no Lion-O, there was no He-Man. So I'm going to assume that something happened to them in the last couple of issues is the reason why they didn't show up. But you have to think they're going to be back for the next one, because so the fight was going along, and we see the various factions, fighting these monsters. You see Tila and Chitara kind of working together a couple of times. You see Man-at-Arms and Panthro and Tigra working together because they got this big cannon they're trying to use against the monsters. And they're having their little banter and whatnot. Then you see, like, say, Orko and Wily Kit and Wily Cat working together, and of course Orko is screwing stuff up like he tends to do. If you are familiar with the He-Man cartoons. So, but he does get one shot in that tends to work out. But everybody's working together, the fight's going on. They go back and forth as to whether the fight works out tonight, until Jaga ends up going to see the sorceress. Then they go off somewhere and then get something to help the fight, and that tends to start to turn the battle around until the end of the issue, where Mumra and Skeletor apparently do a fusion dance and become this one big. That is where we leave the issue. But it was a pretty fun read. Yeah, it was quite that. Like, this book was,
You could sell me this book just based on that cover. That's actually a pretty sweet cover.
I mean, that's what sold me on the first issue. And like I said, I read the first one, and I told you
for viewers of the video feed and for listeners of the podcast, you should tune into the video feed because the cover that we're showing for this issue of He-Man and Thundercats is pretty sweet.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, say something to him.
He's muted.
Something.
There you go.
It should just be on me, right?
Yeah, if you select them.
Well, yeah, but there's that, but it.
So yeah, there's Castle Grayskull and Mumra and Skeletor.
Yeah, and that was the other thing because the fight is somewhere near Castle Grayskull because obviously that's where the monsters are trying to get to, and Skeletor and Mumra, our heroes are fighting against it, including Tigra does something that he has never done to the great scale as he did. So if you know anything about Tigra's power set, you may know what I'm talking about, or you may have a clue to what I'm talking about. But nevertheless, like I said, it was a fun read, and I enjoyed it. This is a crazy miniseries that works. Although it's not so crazy because you would think about it, they were technically in the same universe anyway,
right?
Given the cartoon, the background of it.
Of course. All right, so I think it's back to me now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me wrap up the Captain America corner of the Marvel Universe by touching upon Captain America Sam Wilson number 19. Basically, my notes on this are real simple. Coming from a legal background, all I can say is, come on, Rage, really? Unfortunately, Falcap's attempts to find an alibi witness for Rage, despite being successful, is a little bit too, it's too little too late because a verdict has come in, and while it's not explicitly shown what it is, it's implied, and you can tell from the burning buildings that are reflected in the goggles of Falcap. It's probably not a good verdict in terms of it could have come down either way, to be honest, because there's probably going to be a strong reaction to guilty or not guilty verdict in this. Poor Rage is being set up by the AmeriCops and the nefarious forces that are acting in the background of the Captain America Sam Wilson book / Captain America Steve Rogers book. So reading these in tandem really does provide a good it really does provide a good story, because like it or not, they're going to be connected, being written by the same writer.
All right, let me see what I have next. Oh, Batman 17.
Oh, we both read that. We always forget the DC stuff. Oh, sorry, Dirt.
So, part 2 of I Am Bane.
I Am Bane.
I Am Bane. So my notes say there was no explanation of what happened to the Robins at the end of issue 16.
Yeah, that cliffhanger from the end of the last issue, the first issue in this story arc, really wasn't a twist. Like, we were all like, yeah, that's going to be a twist. That'll be explained away. Yeah, that really wasn't a twist.
So the explanation is Batman just takes them and drops them off at the Fortress of Solitude with Superman to keep them out of harm's way from Bane, yet we saw them in harm's way at the end of last issue.
Right.
Okay, I saw a panel on that. I was wondering what was going on there.
Yeah. So that happened. And also, we see Catwoman in disguise get shot in the back twice, yet she's like tied up and held a prisoner at the end of this issue. It's like she should be dead. I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah. So bottom line is that, we're setting up the inevitable showdown between Batman and Bane, And it's kind of a classic story, because what Bane is doing is gathering, loved ones and hostages for, to lure Batman into the trap. And that's really the focus of this issue of the story. There are a few things going on in the background. We have I forget the character's name, that girl who got superpowers.
Gotham Girl.
Yeah, Gotham Girl, and being treated for her psychosis by being exposed to the powers of the Psycho Pirate. We have some of these minions. Listen, if I were better versed in DC lore and DC characters, I might recognize some of these goofballs who are running around with guns, right, Tim? Like there's some goofy looking characters like kind of running around with guns who are doing the bidding
I have no
of
idea
Bane.
who those people are, but I'm sure they're like from the DC back catalog that Tom King likes to
exactly. And I'm just like, who are these people? Why are they like stalking Duke Thomas and Commissioner Gordon? And obviously they're doing it at the bidding of Bane. So basically we end the issue with Bane setting up the stage for a showdown. So we've gotten to this point. This issue was a lot of setup and a lot of setting the stage for this showdown. So it was effective in that regard, and the art was nice. It was Finch, I believe.
It was.
Yeah, it was David Finch for the entire issue. So it did. It's definitely a nice looking book. So I give it that. I give it props for that. But this is all set up, and hopefully it pays off in the next few issues.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes, but there was just again points that left me scratching my head.
Yeah. Like I said, like who are these goofballs with the guns, right? So
yeah. Nice. We saw a cameo by Hush, who was not Hush.
That's right. And I love the one of my favorite lines in any of books this week was something uttered by Alfred, because he's not really Alfred. He's not necessarily playing Alfred for a portion of this book. Basically talking about being a trained Shakespearean actor, and this is what he's been reduced to.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So, Roddy, are you up?
I was just checking out. I was just checking out the book you were talking about. For my last book, I have. Excuse me for a second. Goodness. Black Panther: World of Wakanda #4.
Boom.
I feel compelled to do this every time I talk about this book, which is this takes place after Shuri's death, around Infinity.
Okay,
that sounds about right, and around the time of Ultimates, which that's I guess that checks out. Anika's kind of having a pity party because her and Ayo were away when Wakanda was attacked, and Shuri died in the process of that, so she's blaming herself for that happening. So she's kind of distancing herself away from Ayo. Another Dora Milaje, Folami, got some enhancements, some nanite enhancements by some dude as of last issue. So she's getting a little amped up, and she's wanting to do some things, and she finally tells the head, the head, Dora Milaje, who knew this already. She kind of inadvertently demonstrates her newfound prowess. And then they decided to get her, looked into, and hopefully to try to get the advancement taken out. But before all that happens, the Dora Milaje find out that coincidentally in Folami's village, who her dad is the chief of, to find out that he's been taking advantage of the women of the village, and getting rid of people who tried to protect the women. So this one young lady comes to get the help of the Dora Milaje. Falami finds this out. She tells her dad. Anika goes in by herself to try to take care of the issue and ends up, ends up, as this cover shows, ends up taking care of Falami's dad. She finds this out. Anika goes to jail for this act because she acted without provocation. Falami visits her in jail and starts to come ahead of her behind jobs because she's now stronger than whatever. And that's where the issue ends. And the only other thing that happens in this issue is like we keep seeing Falami say she will become rage.
Oh
which
no!
has me thinking.
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple of connotations with that, right?
Exactly. And even at the end, before she goes to confront Anika, she does some things to herself, because she's acting a little bit more irrational as time goes by.
All right.
So we finally, I guess because of this, we kind of see why Anika's in jail at the beginning of Black Panther, because we can only assume that it is because of her actions in the Southern Village.
Gotcha.
That's that.
All right. So you enjoying this kind of trek down memory lane and filling some of the gaps?
It is interesting to see some of the kind of behind the scenes stuff from the main, main book. I mean, they're all in the same world, but,
Yeah, but the primary book is Black Panther, so.
Right. But we also get to see, it was like, okay, well, clearly this is why they have an issue with him.
Right.
In his book, because we never did get to actually see that, during in the run up to the book.
Right. This basically kind of fills in some of the gaps as to why there really is palace intrigue, why there really is kind of conflict on the ground in Wakanda in the wake of all the cosmic things that have been happening to it.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So it's back to me. We're going to try to move a little quicker now. Daredevil number 17. If anyone is looking to jump on Daredevil, or looking for a good jumping on point, this I think is the best place to do it. This is, I believe, this is the first issue in the new arc entitled "Running with the Devil," and basically, we left we concluded the last issue with Matt Murdock going to confession and basically confessing how, basically starting to tell the story of how he put his secret identity, which was revealed in the last volume of Daredevil, to the world. He revealed his costumed identity to the world, how they were able to put that particular genie back in the bottle. So this first issue touches upon some of the reasons why Daredevil would want to put it back in the bottle. There's some really obvious reasons, but it's a pretty well told story. Basically, the first half of the issue deals with a couple of encounters that Matt had in San Francisco and a little bit in New York when his secret identity was still exposed. That kind of lead him down this path to want to restore the old status quo of having a secret identity, and a superheroing identity that stayed separate from each other. So, and that's really what Charles Soule is exploring here, is that the soul of so many of these characters. And I think Eclectic would appreciate this, because he's he's very disappointed in much of the Marvel Cinematic Universe basically doing away with secret identities. In this issue, we actually delve into some of the realities that some of the characters that we've long appreciated, because they had like distinct secret identities and distinct superhero identities, and what that means to the storytelling and what it means to the characters and their own development. I know he appreciated that, and I think that this issue really starts us down the examination of that, that nature, that dual nature of these characters, and how that really helped with a lot of the development of some of these characters, ever since they made their first appearance. The cliffhanger at the end of this brings back some characters that were in the previous volume of Daredevil. I'm not going to spoil it. You're just going to have to read it. I do recommend this book because it's a great jumping on point. It's also a candidate for Click of the Week.
Does this remind you of another event that may be shown on the screen or not?
Kind of. Although they do mention it. What's funny about this is that they mentioned this, and Daredevil was like, "Nah, I don't think I want to go down that road." Believe it or not. Yeah, seriously, give it a read. You might enjoy it. It's a great, like I said, you're not dealing with creepy 10-finger guy or any of that stuff. It really is a good jumping on point.
I read, was it Bullseye and Kingpin #1s last week, which are part of this Running with the Devil, and I said I want to try to keep up with this since they're obviously building something with the street level heroes. So I guess I'll be trying to read Daredevil now.
Right. Well, at least, like I said, give this issue a try and see if you're, interested in seeing where it goes.
Hero I can never seem to get into in the comics, but hey.
Right. Right. All right, Roddy, you're out of books, right?
Yep.
I've only got 2 left. Monsters Unleashed #3. I happen to be probably the only panelist here on the Comic Book Chronicles that is, somewhat okay with the story.
Sucker.
I know, right? I'm such a fanboy when it comes to this stuff. So, because it hits me right in the soft, and right in that soft spot where, the Godzilla fanboy and the Marvel fanboy live, right? Basically what they do, and it's kind of funny because we've been riffing on this for years. The monsters are actually part of an Inhuman prophecy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
For real.
Right.
That's how they tie it into the Marvel continuity and making the Inhumans ever more important to the current storylines, right? So, we already know that the kid, the basic story is that this kid summons monsters by drawing them, and he received these powers through Terrigenesis, but he's actually he's actually part of an Inhuman prophecy, and that's leading towards the ultimate conflict that's going to be told within the pages of the Monsters Unleashed limited series, and will lead into what we've talked about earlier, which is the establishment of a new monster fighting team in the Marvel Universe. Tim, you got anything left?
Yes, I have Batwoman Begins.
Okay, and I've only got one other after this.
Bring up the notes.
Yeah, Tim's multitasking because Dirt is on assignment today. So
this basically just recapped Kate Kane's past, from childhood through teenage years to being in the armed forces to I guess the moment that led her to becoming Batwoman. And at the end, we see a glimpse of the same type of, like, this year in Batwoman. Yeah, they did that. And it looked like they set up a new arch nemesis for her that, I get, not to spoil it, but is very familiar to her. I'll just leave it at that.
Cool. All right, and my last book for the week is Spider-Man #13, which also did not receive a very good review or a very high score on PCN_Dirt's reviews. What is it? Comicgrams on
Graham
Instagram.
Comic Reviews.
Graham Comic Reviews. I apologize, PCN_Dirt. Graham Comic Reviews on Instagram. He was not a fan of this issue, and I understand why, because it is a lot of talking. It's still, it's tough kind of getting through these Bendis issues that are moving the story along in such really small incremental steps that it's just, it's frustrating because there's really not all that much movement. And in all honesty, even with some of the witty banter and some of the conversation that maybe, on the snappy side, there really isn't that much character development, and it's just a lot of talking. We're not getting much out of it, and we're not moving the story very far, so it's just kind of frustrating. I can say that there's a lot of there's some running commentary by Miles in this that where he basically admits that he's not on par with Spider-Gwen when it comes to fighting ability at this point in their careers, and it's he's humbled. He's humbled that he's fighting alongside someone who could basically run circles around him when it comes to fighting and being creative with the use of their of the spider powers that they have in common. So that was a pretty interesting point to see the character make. But otherwise, the story seemed to be moving along. Seems to be moving along at a snail's pace.
And I think the reason Dirt was reading this was because his son was reading it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, by the way, before we get to Clicks of the Week, there was one Marvel hip hop cover this week, and shout out to Roddy Cat, who recognized that this totally awesome Hulk image that is on the cover of Monsters Unleashed #3 is a shout out to the Mike Tyson album by the late Sean Price, may he rest in peace, of Helter Skelter, and I actually know him better as part of the Boot Camp KLIQ collective.
Yeah.
So Clicks of the Week.
All right. I'm going to go with Mighty Thor #16. I had a good time reading that.
Oh, thought Daredevil was going to be yours.
It was close. I just didn't I enjoyed where Daredevil is going, but I got a kick out of reading the that one line kind of got me. Like, I've always hated this trial. This trial that kind of got me for the week.
PC_ Dirts was Old Man Logan #18.
Yeah, you're gonna have to read that one to find out.
You mean it's not this?
Oh no!
No.
Was that La Muerta number what?
#1 pinups.
There you go.
From Coffin Comics. I don't know.
Nice.
Wait. Did you put that in the sheet? Or did anybody put that in the sheet? Okay.
He told it to us offline.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right. Tim, you got yours or no?
Mine is Super Sons #1.
Nice.
Okay.
Very well done.
Yeah.
I'm actually slightly torn between that He-Man, Thundercats, and Invincible Iron Man.
Yeah. While you're thinking, Daredevil came in a pretty close second for me. I did really like this issue. I'm going to read just a couple of quick lines. It's funny that you're talking about how authentic some New York things are. Obviously, Charles Soule is a New York native. In a panel where he's talking about Daredevil and coming back to New York from San Francisco, the moments he stepped out of LaGuardia, he heard Cabby speaking at least 30 languages. He smelled the exhaust and the hot dogs and the urine and the $1,000 perfume. And he felt the vibrations of 8 million people fighting for their dreams in the greatest damn city in the world. I was home. That's some good stuff for a native New Yorker. But still, I love seeing the stuff that was going on in Thor. But Daredevil #17 was a close second. I may have to do that for CB Caps.
Yeah, send it. Yeah, send it to me, or we'll work something out.
You got it.
Yeah, crap.
Oh man, I read that whole thing, and you still haven't come up with your click of the week.
This is a really hard one for me to do because they're both good and for different reasons. So screw it. I will go with Invincible Iron Man #4.
Cool.
That it was the whole weirdness with Pepper fighting was interesting, but yeah. But if you're gonna get a chance, I will say read He-Man Thundercats. The book's kind of wild.
Cool.
Wild, man. Wild.
All right. So let me get an ad read in before we move on. So let's switch it up a little bit this week. And we're pulling up the read for audible.com. So, for you, the listeners of the Click Nation's Comic Book Chronicles podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. Personally recommend an audiobook of your choice, available at audiobook.com. That's what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to recommend The Best in the World at What I Have No Idea by Chris Jericho and The Andromeda Strain by Michael Crichton. You can download your pick or another audiobook free by trying audible.com. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/Click Nation's Comic Book Chronicles. Again, that's audibletrial.com/Click Nation's Comic Book Chronicles for your free audiobook. I may have misread that. It's actually audibletrial.com/Comic Book Chronicles. Ching, ching.
Do it today.
Do it today.
Hey, back up a second. Is anybody reading Odyssey of the Amazons?
I've read the first issue, and I will read the second sometime this weekend. It's actually good. I like it.
Yeah, I hadn't had a chance to. I've been picking them up, but I hadn't had a chance to read any up, and I was wondering if anybody on the panel was checking them out.
I am, but
Cool.
busy week or big week in
Understood.
books. I should
Yeah,
say.
for real.
And also, Sex Criminals is back. So woo! Anyway,
I may actually try to jump on that since it's a sort of good
What,
jumping on point. They claim.
what? Oh, Sex Crims?
Yes.
Yeah, the book's been good. I'm a little behind.
I'm
But
way behind on that.
yeah, I am too, actually. Because sometimes they take a break, and then it's like, well,
As if I don't have enough to read.
Right.
All right, time for some cinematic news of the week. Hulu and Marvel's Runaways has found its supervillain or
villains.
supervillain parents.
Yeah,
What does that say?
yeah, that's pretty much it.
And that
Looking for-
is,
Okay, cool. Thanks.
let's see, who is it going to be? Ryan Sands and Angel Parker play Jeffrey and Caroline Wilder,
Yeah, it makes
parents
sense.
of Alex.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And of course, it names all their parents. I'm not going to go through all that. All right.
Yeah, but we got a couple of
8.
notable names in there. But so
Does this link have their pictures next to them?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay, because the ones I saw didn't have pictures, so I was like, I have no idea who these people are or look like. So
One of them is an alumni of Buffy, the Vampire Slayer.
James Marston
James Marston, exactly.
plays Chase's dad, Victor.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. What's it? War of the Planet of the Apes director Matt Reeves
Yes, I believe that's good.
is Warner Brothers' choice to direct the Batman.
He has actually been officially confirmed.
No kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was a couple days ago.
Ant-Man and the Wasp begin pre-production in Atlanta soon.
Wow. Man, that Marvel machine keeps rolling, man.
Hey,
It does.
Seriously. I mean, this is the stuff that like even like Michael Douglas and even Michael Keaton are just like, hey, they're impressed by this. They've got their schedule. They're going to keep it moving.
The Russo brothers confirmed next 2 Avengers movies still directly connected.
so these next 3 articles are connected, just so you know.
Okay.
Because they all come from that. Yeah, they all come from that video you're about to talk about.
Avengers Infinity War official first look video was released. I did the story for that last Friday night.
Nice.
That's what happens when you decide not to go see Lego Batman movie on a Friday night and go on Saturday matinee instead. You come home, you're flipping through the Twitters before you're gonna close the laptop down, and then you see something's been released at like 8 something at night.
Right.
That happens, yeah.
Let me do a story on that right quick, or stories.
How was Lego Batman?
It was good.
Yeah, I keep hearing that.
Yeah.
So did you see John Wick this past weekend too?
I've seen no John Wick movies.
Oh,
neither have I, actually.
No.
I'd have to go see that by myself. The wife doesn't care at
I'm
all.
tied up. I was about to say I was tied up this past weekend. I fully intend to see the new John Wick 2 soon.
I need to see if the one is on a streaming service I already am subscribed to.
Might be.
I don't know. I mean, it was on it was on HBO for a long time.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, I'll look tomorrow because I feel like being kind of semi-lazy tomorrow and not doing much.
Nice.
So I may find myself on the couch. Avengers Infinity War official first look video released by Marvel. I already said that. New concept art shows off Black Panther's Wakanda and Thor Ragnarok.
Some good looking concept art.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the Thor Ragnarok one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what people were saying. I don't know. Yeah.
You know,
I'm mad I took the Black
about,
Panther story and didn't do the Thor Ragnarok one.
Yeah. I was gonna say spoiler alert, although this stuff is online and the images are freely available. You know, there are people wondering, is that Yarnbjorn? Is that Ultimate Thor?
Right. There were a couple of articles about that.
So, some interesting fodder for discussion created just by whatchamacallit, concept art.
Han Solo movie circles Westworld star Thandie Newton.
Maybe Son of Staros?
Right.
Maybe. Star Trek Discovery teaser shows off new aliens, trendy uniforms, and a captain's chair waiting to be filled.
Yeah, and some weird looking Klingons.
If that thing ever comes out.
It is.
As friend of the show, William Bruce West believes it won't.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they keep pushing it back and making changes and stuff, right?
I mean, yeah, they did it once or twice, but I mean, I have no reason to believe why it won't. It's a Star Trek thing. They're invested.
Yeah. Star Trek Discovery beams new Starfleet officers on board. Archie Comet signs developmental deal with Warner Brothers Television.
There's also some book news that came out of it. Also, we'll get to that later.
Young Justice voice cast confirmed season 3 return.
I know you guys are happy about that.
Yes. But I can't remember if we talked about Kari Payton coming back last week. I think we did, but this is the guy who plays Kid Flash, Wally West, is also back. So I think they pretty much got mostly everybody.
And he's also King Ezekiel on The Walking Dead.
Yes. Oh, yeah, Kari Payton, yes.
What Kerry Washington could look like as Domino in Deadpool 2.
So there's a report going around that Fox is looking to get Kerry Washington, star of Scandal, which was on earlier tonight, I guess. Yes. As Domino, like she's the front runner for Domino in Deadpool 2.
That's kind of cool.
So someone made some concept art of what she would look like. Some artist named Boss Logic decided to do some renditions of what she could look like. Also, apparently in the run is Gugu Bantara, who is also quite attractive herself, and either one of them I would love to see in that role.
Okay.
The Black Lightning character breakdowns and synopsis released.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because apparently they're for the Yeah, you can go through the descriptions. And apparently, the guy they want for Jefferson Pierce, they want a quote unquote Idris Elba type.
But they won't pay for Idris Elba.
Probably not.
All right.
Ryan Johnson announces the Last Jedi panel for Star Wars Celebration.
Okay.
There's rumor of a Namor the Submariner project in development.
You know what? I don't know how I feel about this. I want to see Namor on screen. What they've been doing with the character in the recent past makes it kind of difficult to root for him. But I think he would be a nice foil. It's a shame that maybe they could still do some retroactive continuity and create an Invader style team with Cap and the Winter Soldier and Namor. If they decided to push his origin story all the way back to World War II and before, right? So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility.
It's a possibility. Yeah, I'm sure this will make One Eclectic quite happy if this happens.
Mel Gibson confirmed he's in talks to direct Suicide Squad 2.
Which DC apparently wants to stay losing.
Stay losing.
Which I saw an article come out slightly after this from, I can't remember, it was like the Daily Dot or somebody, from like 3 directors who would probably be better suited to be director other than Mel Gibson type of situation. So
there you go. And last but not least,
Logan may not be the end of the road for Patrick Stewart's Xavier.
All right. Because, we got to keep Captain Picard getting paid. So,
Oh, yeah, he got to do his thing.
Does he get that much in residuals from Star Trek The Next Generation being on Netflix? Come on. So,
I mean, actually, he probably does.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, if we're real about it, I would think so.
So, all right. In comic news,
Spider-Man: Homecoming, Marvel Legends shows Web-Wing Spidey, new Iron Man armor.
So, in case
that Web-Wing Spidey's kind of cool.
I did that.
Toy Fair's coming up soon, so we're getting a little bit of toy news out of this.
Yeah, and shout out to anyone who can help sneak a brother in at @age_70 on Twitter. Looking to get into Toy Fair this coming week.
I'm mad I missed the. I probably wouldn't have been able to go this year. Star Wars Celebration in April. I guess they cut off media pass for was just January 31st was the last day to submit.
Yeah, I would.
So I put a calendar reminder for D23 or whatever.
Yeah,
Is that the same thing?
It's one's fan led and the other one's like some other group led. I can't remember, but one of them's fan led one. I can't remember which. I always forget which one is which. I think
one's in California too, right?
One. I think that's D. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, definitely couldn't do that then. And that's every like 2 years or something, right? D23, I think.
No, I think it's every year. I think. I'm not sure. I don't like I felt like I remember it last couple of years because that's when they've been having the big, like Force Awakens and all the other announcements. But I'm not entirely sure. So either way,
I'm totally digging that Spidey with the web wings. Just pulled up the image. It's so cool looking.
It is.
Yeah, that does look pretty good.
Mezco unveils new lineup, including Daredevil, Wonder Woman, and Wolverine and more. What is Mezco?
It's a toy company.
Yeah, it's like Hot Toys or some of these other places.
Diamond assembles the Avengers to comic shops with previews, exclusive Egg Attack action figures.
Okay.
Since it's a toy portion of the
show. Yeah,
show.
because it's Toy Fair week,
Yeah, like I said.
Mattel is in the Amazon with its new Wonder Woman action doll line.
I almost did not go with this article for that headline, but
that's funny.
That's not that so bad. I like that cap one.
Yeah, that cat one.
Yeah, the cap one's kind of cool.
Someone buy me
Yeah. we're appealing to the audience this week.
How much are those?
There, and someone get that for
Um,
Tim Dog.
It says Captain America will feature a retail price of 100, while Winter Soldier and Ant-Man is like 80.
Never mind.
Wow.
Yeah. Image Comics announces all new Eric Larson one-shot Mighty Man.
Yeah, that's definitely a character from the Savage Dragon days. That's early.
Spider with the Y and Disney bring Marvel superhero inspired style to the U.S. ski team.
Oh, no kidding.
There's some images
of Wonder Woman.
Those are not images of Spider and Disney bringing Marvel superhero inspired style.
However, we can do that real quick.
That's more toys.
That's so basically, oh shit, excuse me.
That's all right.
There we go. We see there we go, a Captain America and Captain Marvel inspired uniforms here.
Wow,
not bad.
That's pretty funky.
So there you go.
All right.
The best part of Star Trek Beyond is coming to comics this week.
Another thing, I don't usually use subjective articles like this, but it was the best one I could find about it.
I still haven't watched this, by the way.
Neither have I.
All right.
Captain America's insidious Hydra plans revealed.
Oh.
Captain America and Hydra versus the Marvel Universe this summer in Secret Empire.
Yeah, there's going to be some drama here because, it's going to be interesting to see how the characters of the Marvel U react to one Steve Rogers being a secret Hydra agent.
He's been inverted.
I know, right?
Pretty much. We saw this in Axis, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Except for he was still old and didn't get inverted.
Yeah, he wasn't really inverted, right?
Actually, he wasn't inverted at all, but Sam was. So
that's it.
Yeah.
And Jessica Jones uncovered the biggest secret in the Marvel Universe,
which is not Captain America being a Hydra agent, apparently.
Exactly. I haven't read this article. I saw the article, but since I am not caught up, I did not read it.
So this is pretty much spoilers for last week's Jessica Jones. She found out about Secret Wars.
Right.
In a weird way.
That it was a real thing, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a select few characters in the Marvel Universe that recall, the events of Secret Wars and what came out of it. Obviously, we're dealing with, we still haven't seen the Fantastic Four come back because they're dealing with it. And the
Ultimates
Surfer.
Ultimates are kind of, which this article kind of alludes to, the Ultimates are kind of handling it from the other end of it.
Right. More with the ramifications, but not so much,
right.
Like with direct knowledge of the event. So, yeah.
Although it still kind of seems like, I feel like I remember reading Black Panther, seems like
Black Panther knows. He also knows. So that's it. He does know because he was also part of using the gauntlet to try to restore reality. Okay.
Right.
Judge Dredd and other 2000 AD characters can now be licensed by new developers.
Okay.
So if they want to make games off of them, they can. I don't know why you would make another Judge Dredd game because I don't remember that other one being good. But or other 1 or 2, 3. I don't.
All right.
Mark Waid adds another book to his Archie portfolio.
So yeah, this was the other news from the Archie news mentioned in the cinematic universe. So he's got a little bit more of a role in the Archie books, and he's also taking over Jughead, which was
he's gonna co-write Jughead.
No,
he's gonna be like
over.
He's gonna.
Oh yeah, no, yes, you're right. It says co-writer Ian Flynn. So you're right, but either way, Starsky's still not doing it anymore.
Yeah, he's got other things,
which we will get to in a sec.
Right.
Yes, and probably some other Archie news, maybe if you added it.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, you talking about Waid or Sudarsky.
Something about Archie and Marvel doing some kind of comic.
Oh yeah. I do have that.
Spectacular Spider-Man returns in a new series from Chip Zdarsky and Adam Kubert.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we got
Young Animal takes on the fourth wall for the Our Red Family's Bug, The Adventures of Forager. I have no idea who that is, but
crickets.
Oh, fine. Crickets.
Lion Forge expands superhero line with Joe Casey's Kino and Incidentals.
And I saw when Matt Wang's excitement as he tweeted Joe Illidge about I guess that was an artist who's also in this.
Yeah, they've been sprinkling these exclusive announcements for each book across different websites. And there was one I saw this morning, but I
think we'll get to that in this.
Okay.
Who's that? What artist is this?
I can't remember. You have to go to Matt's.
All right. Scrolling.
So horror novelist Victor LaValle and Dietrich Smith are launching Destroyer at Boom Studios. Actually, it's kind of cool. It's like a black kid gets killed and his mother comes from the line of like Frankenstein scientists. So she like resurrects her son because she can't she's still grieving over his death.
Okay.
So seems interesting. That might be a Boom Studios, as I said, my New Year's
non-superhero click of the book of the week. Yeah.
From different publishers, read a book, at least one book from each publisher.
Sure.
More like his entryway to Boom.
Right.
Back to Boom. Latest Injustice 2 trailer is all about super ladies.
Super ladies.
And then we saw Swamp Thing in a trailer.
Yeah, so there was a Swamp Thing trailer, and then the other trailer that was Black Canary, Cheetah, a couple other people I can't remember.
Black
Poison
Canary.
Ivy. Yeah.
Poison
Ivy, and I can't remember. There might have been somebody else on
There's
that
4 of them. I can't remember.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Black Canary, Cheetah, Poison Ivy, and Catwoman.
Yep. Catwoman.
Yeah.
Injustice 2 announced for mobile devices.
Yeah, Roddy had a lot to say about this particular announcement here. There's a couple of pieces here.
Wait, did I? Oh, well, yeah. I just happened to find them at the same time. I wasn't sure if they were connected or not. Didn't seem like it though. So yeah, we get Injustice 2. That shouldn't be that much of a surprise because the first Injustice had a mobile app also, which is another fighting game. So
I will say the Swamp Thing Injustice gameplay looked cool. Just because I usually don't care about Swamp Thing at all.
Yeah. That was the one I didn't see because I figured I was told about it and I still hadn't watched that one. I watched the other one with the ladies, and I was like, well, Swamp Thing makes sense because they got a Solomon Grundy type and another big dude who's got some extra stuff going on.
And that mobile game play for Injustice 2 showed leaks for Cyborg and Scarecrow.
Yeah, so apparently in the Philippines it's out there somewhere. So there's some footage leaked that shows Cyborg and Scarecrow, which Cyborg was in the first one. Scarecrow was, as far as I know, not. I don't know. I can't remember. I didn't get that far in it.
So we talked about Catalyst Prime already. Marvel released a teaser.
Well, Summit. This is that other book. I think I thought you might.
Oh, Summit. I thought you meant they held a summit, creative summit. I was like,
no. This is about the book Summit.
So Summit from who?
Lion Forge.
Amy Chu and illustrated by Jan Dursema.
Dursema, I guess. Yeah.
I want to try to read some of these books, but
yeah,
it's about finding time now.
Yes.
We kind of have to dedicate. We have to actually dedicate, and find time to read some of these books to give them a chance.
Marvel teased something called Generations for summer 2017.
And I don't know, did anything else come out about that? Because all I saw was a tweet. And
it was just a tweet.
Yeah, I was about to say there's a cool image. Obviously, this is definitely like poster. This is definitely poster material from Alex Ross. It shows off, and I've made mention of this before about how Marvel now, because they're able to they're able to launch a book like Champions because they legitimately have a number of legacy heroes, whereas they kind of lagged behind DC before, because think about when they started doing Teen Titans books. We were talking about like way back in the day, because there were already a certain number of legacy heroes and sidekicks that DC had on their in their stable of characters. Whereas this is a fairly recent development in the Marvel Universe. And this image is filled with all of these legacy type heroes. The one I kind of don't agree with is, the young X-Men that they've brought back from the past into the future. Like, come on, that's not a legacy hero, people.
It's Jean Grey, and then it's her younger self.
Yeah, exactly. Come on.
I guess, yeah, because if that's good, you're going to have to put the rest of them out there. But then again, since one of them's not around anymore.
Right. So, but like I said, that other than that, I'm very impressed by the characters that Alex Ross chose to put on this image. So
yeah, for some reason I thought it was kind of interesting that they had Marvel on there too, even though that makes sense.
Oh, it makes complete sense because of the sequence. And look at what they put, who they paired him with. Obviously, they paired him with Carol, but Carol in two different stages of her career.
Right.
So, I thought that's pretty cool. I like this image. This is like
generations of Marvels.
Yeah, this is a wallpaper image. That's no joke. That's a wallpaper image for me. So, all right. I like this next piece of news is actually pretty interesting.
So Marvel teams with Archie Comics to release Marvel Comics Digest.
I think this is long overdue for Marvel.
But I feel like they've done something like this before, not necessarily in that format though.
Right, but it's this format. It's this format and this distribution, because I think that's the important part. Is that, believe it or not, there are plenty of people that still buy those little Archie Digests because they're not just available in comic shops. They're available all over the place.
Right.
So, and Archie, Baltazar, and Franco team for Little Josie and the Pussycats.
All right.
Yeah.
There is one bit of toy news that I see that Roddy did not add. I saw it, I believe, today. I think it's more Toy Fair related stuff where we may have seen, I've definitely used it on the show before as part of the Marvel Legends kind of cosplay prop line. The Captain America shield, there's two versions. One is the plastic one that I have for $100, and one is the metal one that's like $275. But and there's also the Iron Man helmet. They've recently put out images and pricing for the next wave of the Marvel Legends cosplay toys, which is Mjolnir and the Star-Lord helmet. And Roddy, if you're looking for this, I think this is out today. But I've got the foam Mjolnir that came out with like one of the Thor movies or the Avengers movie. This is cool because you can actually whack somebody with this and not do too much damage. But there's actually still like a pretty tough foam core in there. You could probably whack someone real good with this. But
I came across an article that was actually about 3D printing Mjolnir.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I saw it. I wish I had put it in line or put it in there, but yeah, there's one out there for it. I'd have to dig it back up.
Right, but there is, there definitely is. It's a Gizmodo article. It looks like there's a bunch of them now that I see online. Now that I Google it, but there's a Gizmodo article that shows the Mjolnir actually lights up. So does the Star-Lord helmet. And there's a little stand for the Mjolnir too. I think I'm gonna gun for that one as my next little prop to keep around. I may actually bring that to the office and keep that to whack somebody with. You know what I mean? So I say thee nay.
And all right, too bad you couldn't get it to throw it and get it to come back to you.
Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to make like thunder noises or something. I'm like, oh yeah, that's mine. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Both roleplay accessories will be available for pre-order on Amazon starting at noon on Saturday, February 18th. Oh, that's it. Mine.
And for those looking at the video, I just found the article.
There it is.
To.
Check that out, man. Scroll down a little bit so you can see what the Thor one looks like with the stand. If you can, Roddy.
Mm-hmm.
It'll load up and Tim will see it. And there it is.
Oh.
Yeah, see? Oh, check that out, man. Oh, I'm totally ordering that. Mine.
Yeah, that's actually cool looking.
Yes. No doubt. It's got the loop at the end too. Hopefully that'll actually fit my big mitts so I can put my hand through it. But we'll see.
$100 though. Ooh.
The cap shield is $100. So that seems to be like the standard price point for like the plastic. Let's say they put out a metal one, that's going to be a lot more.
Sure.
So, but anyway, I'm glad that we were able to finish off the news with that because I was pretty jazzed by this announcement and actually reading that we can pre-order this starting this weekend. Oh, that works.
How much is it?
$100.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's like borderline, but you know what? Like that's just something that you can actually like. My cap shield, we joked about this before. My cap shield is literally on the floor, propped up against the closet door, like it is in Cap Winter Soldier. Like it's hanging out. So it's just there. So I can imagine this Mjolnir like being like a cool prop, just to pick up and twirl around next to your desk.
All right.
So let me finish this off with a more familiar ad read, people. As I wait for this to load up. Keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Speaking of Amazon, where you can pre-order the Mjolnir Marvel Legends prop toy. Visit cspn.us. That's what I'm going to do on Saturday when I pre-order this. Then click the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's Mjolnir Marvel Legends props, books, music, electronics, jewelry, or apparel. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment that helps us keep the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Amazon.com through CSPN.us. Do it today.
And follow us on our individual Twitter accounts. I'm at TimDOGG98 and at CBCron. Agent 70 is at agent_70 on Twitter and Instagram. Roddy Cat is at Roddy Cat and at News Nerds Needs and at CB Caps on Instagram.
And be on the lookout for, I guess I'll be Instagramming this image as well as Roddy from CB Caps will as well, the image I was referring to earlier.
And PCN Dirt is at PCN_Dirt on Twitter.
And at popculturenetwork.com.
And Graham Comic Reviews.
Graham Comic Reviews on Instagram.
So with that, we are done for the week.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in live.
That's right.
If you did, or on the audio or video podcast.
Thanks again. Many, many thanks. Oh, it was a D20.
Sometimes you got to roll the hard 20.
Ah, man, that brings back memories. There you go.
And with that, we are the Comic Book Chronicles, and we are signing off.
Peace.